really appreciate you being here. We've started our live recording, but I think let's give it a few secs for our participants to join. And as usual, I see they know the drill already by now. Please put in the chat for us where you're joining from. It's always lovely to see who all our friends in our network are. And like Carolyn just mentioned, today our Capia team is presenting a quite technical knowledge or basis of knowledge. So it's really interesting to see who are the auditors and combined assurance governance specialists from all over the world. And while you're telling us where you are from, I would also like to welcome Prof. Wahib Deshim. Do I get that right? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry to be late a little bit. Thank you. That's correct.
Okay, wonderful. So it's lovely to meet you, and we're so happy to have you on board. And you're not late yet. We are allowing our participants to enter the room, and while they do, they tell us where they're from. And I'm happy to see we have George from Athens, and as usual, quite a lot of friends from South Africa, Namibia. Anita, welcome to you as well. I know you from work. Peggy from Ghana. Also, of course, Prof. Cesar and so many of your friends and colleagues from Turkey as well. That is indeed wonderful. I think we have, it's still picking up. So keep on telling us where you're from. Leandi, lovely to have you back again as well from South Africa. And Desi from Namibia, Harare. Well, we can give it another minute or so as we fill up our room. Gavin Dubai, we got you. Okay, from Damien from Czech Republic. Indeed, avid governance and combined assurance and continuous assurance, right? Auditing enthusiasts. I think, how about we get started? So, good day to our panel and our attendees. It really is a privilege to welcome you to our Assuring Against Algorithmic Harms webinar. I think this is such a very important topic in these times, during a fourth or even fifth industrial revolution, where we really need to take our cybersecurity, amongst others, very serious. So it really is my privilege to welcome an entire panel that will present to us today. These are mainly team members, and not all of them from the Capia project led by Prof. Lawrence Erasmus. So Lawrence, welcome today. Once again, thank you for sharing your hard work and research and knowledge with our audience. Every step we can take towards better governance and good governance is an important one. So I'm handing over to you to please introduce your panel to us today. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Lindy. Good day to our distinguished speakers and participants, whether it is in the morning, afternoon, or evening from where you have joined. As Lindy introduced me, I'm Lawrence Erasmus. I will be the moderator for today's webinar on assuring against algorithmic harms. And as a member of the Capia Research Project, it stands for Continuous Auditing for Public Sector Internal Auditing. I wish to thank the Good Governance Academy for this opportunity to partner with them. In this exciting age of new technologies in business and the public sector, to streamline processes and render the work environment more efficient and effective, auditors need to stay abreast of developments and identify new risks in terms of cybersecurity, data privacy, and regulatory compliance. But also in terms of artificial intelligence and machine learning, auditors need to be aware of the key audit risks that relying on algorithms have installed and be able to assure that algorithmic harms are identified, addressed, and corrected so stakeholders can act on informed and vetted artificial intelligence-powered business recommendations. Now, as you have noted from the flyer that piqued your interest, this webinar addresses the auditing of algorithms reflecting the changing nature of auditing. So as a result, it is open to discourse how basic perspective should change for those who are audited and those who carry out the audit. Thus, we need to argue the basic requirements, preliminary precautions, and challenges for managers and auditors to reflect on these new developments in their environment and audit planning. Now, before I introduce the first speaker, I will be remiss if I do not take the opportunity to promote our new book that is about to be published and authored by the CAPIA members, titled Continuous Auditing with AI in the Public Sector. And the first speaker of today, Ilse Morgan, has authored 2 chapters in this book on blockchain technology and algorithmic auditing, respectively. So kindly be on the lookout for when the publication is available later in the year, and please support our work in that regard. Thank you, Lindy. Then a special word of thanks to Professor Wahab Techem, who on a very short notice replaced Professor Muharrem Kilic as a speaker after Prof. Kilic became unavailable due to work commitments. Thank you so much, Prof. But without further ado, it is my pleasure then to present our first speaker for today, Mrs. Ilse Morgan. Now, Ilse is a certified internal auditor, a senior lecturer at the University of South Africa, in short UNISA, at their Department of Auditing, and she holds a master's degree in auditing and is currently doing her PhD in financial governance. A PhD focuses on improving accountability and transparency in the South African public sector through continuous assurance. And she started her career in external auditing before entering academia and transitioned to internal auditing. She's also serving as a non-executive director of a financial services company in South Africa. And she also acted for 3 years as the manager of the Center for Accounting Studies at UNISA, where they developed short learning programs, where she was then involved in the development and management of various internal auditing short courses during this period. Her expertise is ethical governance and internal auditing, and utilizing technology in a pragmatic way to address shortcomings and weaknesses. So she also uses technology innovatively in presenting and assessing coursework via online learner management systems. So yes, we are looking forward to listen to Ilse. And Ilse, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Just let me know the moment you can see my screen, please. Is it available?
Not yet, Ilse. There we go.
Okay.
It's starting now. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks again. The challenges about the quality, fairness, transparency, and accountability of algorithmic decisions emphasize the need to understand algorithms and their transparency, and that will require verification to build trust in them. So the topics that I want to share with you today are the role of algorithms, the related risks and challenges, the regulations and standards that are required, transparency in AI and algorithms, and the future role of auditors in this. Have you considered the extent to which AI and algorithms shape our lives? Imagine a future where AI has become so integral part of our lives that it influences nearly every decision we make. Algorithms are step-by-step instructions designed to solve a problem and to perform a task. But we are not just users, but we are becoming occupants of an AI world, and we need to understand the implications. This is no longer a scene from a sci-fi movie, but it's a reality. So let's look at some real-world examples of where we use algorithms. In smartphones, wearables, to smart homes and smart cities, smart everything, combined with security and surveillance systems, also called surveillance capitalism. Well, in data processing and analysis, for example, in grading essays and exams through automated scoring that we are now using. Imagine the dilemma in the academia about plagiarism with the use of ChatGPT, Bing AI, Copilot, and more. From social media feeds, greeting us in the morning and shopping, online recommendations, AI is not just playing a role, it's creating our experiences, choosing the news we read and the friends updates we see, and even suggesting products that we might want to buy. Social media has the power to influence the outcomes of wars, elections, and even relationships. Pursuing likes on posts has become so addictive that it can change a person's behavior for the sake of being accepted. In finance and assurance, they aid in credit scoring and algorithmic trading. And in healthcare, algorithms assist in the diagnosis of diseases, predicting patient outcomes, and recommending treatment plans. The rise of AI in healthcare is undeniable, but would you feel comfortable if the AI doctor only treats your symptoms and not the root causes? What will happen to the human connection in healthcare? In GPS navigations, AI chooses the best route for you to drive, causing some people to end up in dangerous areas. Lawyers will have a big opportunity to still be useful. And in transportation, AI is effectively used in logistics and in traffic management, in automation such as autonomous vehicles, robotics, and gaming. The first Kasparov electronic chess game was one of the first devices to be using algorithms, I think, in the 1990s already. And then in e-commerce, search engines like Amazon and Google, the algorithm recommends the products, and you decide then on based of the reviews or the popularity or the price. So data is the new gold, and your information is accessible to more organizations than you think. Your phone listens to you, so switch off that function if you want to ensure your privacy. The benefits of algorithms are obvious, but it's important to be aware of all the potential risks, such as bias and discrimination. Consider all the information gathered just from your viewing preferences through algorithmic analysis, from your complete profile information to your browsing history, what and how long and when you watch. Also think of the intellectual property rights of the actors, the performers, and the script writers who are losing their jobs to AI. Another great opportunity for lawyers. All these decision makers, as they become more autonomous, it is crucial that we understand how they make these decisions and if they are fair and ethical. Although it has immense potential to improve our world, what happens when these algorithms go wrong? With this great power comes greater responsibility. And let's hear what the creators of AI say.
Our tech lead, a dire warning.
Ilse, it seems like we've lost sound on the clip.
I don't know why that doesn't work. So you can watch the full video, and there's a link provided that you can watch it. We already know the benefits and the uses, so let's rather than look at the general risks and the challenges for individuals. Firstly, the algorithmic bias can arise from the data used to train the AI, the design of the algorithm, and its automated decision-making functions. Imagine a recruitment algorithm that favors only certain groups over others, leading to a lack of diversity in hiring, which is discrimination and unfair. AI rely on large amounts of structured and unstructured data, which may include personal information, and if not handled correctly, that could lead to severe privacy breaches. Imagine your personal information being exposed because of a faulty algorithm, or you are being wrongly accused of a crime. It's a chilling thought, and we still don't know the extent of AI's potential, but it's too late to stop it. AI-generated deepfake videos can spread false and misleading information or damage reputations. There was a video on social media where Elon Musk invited people to join him in making more money. It was totally fake. There are fact checkers, but who is checking the fact checkers? Should it not be qualified auditors? There are serious concerns about the moral and ethical development and the use of AI, and then there's a lack of human oversight due to the super fast development of generative AI. AI systems they're like black boxes. We might know what goes in and maybe what comes out, but what happens in the middle is unclear, and that leads to mistrust. The risks include in an algorithmic error, like for example, in a self-driving car, can cause a fatal accident, or there could be a wrong medical diagnosis. Who will you hold accountable? Are we considering the wider impact on society and economies, the potential long-term consequences for humans? Making it difficult to hold people accountable, which can lead to more unethical use and encouraging non-compliance and then serious misuse. Do not overlook the potential of superintelligence, excessive surveillance, or autonomous weapon systems. So the first step is to better understand these algorithms and their inherent risks. So if the risks for individuals are so invasive, what could be the risk for corporates in this environment? The risks could be that we can anticipate are failures in AI governance, poor risk management, compliance failures, unreliable intelligence, inadequate security, insufficient resilience, ineffective controls, failures by the assurance providers, and many more. So the regulations and standards are very important in shaping the future, but they are not currently aligned and inconsistent, so that's making them ineffective. We need a strong global regulatory framework that can guide the responsible use of these powerful tools and guarantee that their implementation is aligned with our values. But people's values also differ nowadays, so left or right, I don't know, east or west. It should guide the design, the implementation, and the use to ensure fairness, transparency, and accountability. Transparency is vital, and the regulations should mandate that the AI systems be designed to show their workings, allowing us as the auditors to understand how they make the decisions to build trust in them. The regulations should define and ensure clear lines of accountability. So if an AI system has a negative impact, who will be held responsible and accountable? The developer, the host platform, or the user? Regulations and standards aren't just about preventing misuse, but it's also will provide guidelines for the developers to understand for them what is acceptable and what is not in using AI responsibly and ethically. So in terms of transparency, it's important to ensure that decisions made by the AI systems are fair and ethical, but for that it needs to be transparent. I've noticed on a certain social media platform that nowadays people's comments are totally redacted or filtered out. But previously, I had a choice if I wanted to see all the comments or just relevant comments. Now the decision has been made for me, and that is not freedom of information. The lack of transparency can lead to discrimination and decisions that are then difficult to challenge because it wasn't transparent. Another example is an online shopping platform where people can sell their products, but also sell on their own platform and other online shopping pages. And so if you reduce your price on the one platform, the other company picks that up and they soft blocks you, thus forcing you to keep your price the same as theirs or higher. So you can't put your price lower. So otherwise, they make you less visible on their platform, or it appears that your product is out of stock, or even the reviews can be manipulated. You are forced to accept the rules of their platform. So the different types of transparency that will be required are important from the audience or stakeholders to the impact thereof. We as auditors will need that. Whether the capabilities and purpose of the algorithms are clearly communicated, how explainable the internal mechanisms are the adequate processes and documentations of key decisions, and transparency about compliance. So the lack of transparency in how the algorithm function and make decisions can be either due to intentional secrecy to protect sensitive information, that's fine. Otherwise, technical complexity of the algorithms based on machine learning, AI, or then deep learning, the user's understanding, lack of documentation, or biases in the data fed into the algorithms. And lastly, or protecting users' privacy or sensitive personal data. So what does the future holds for auditors as the AI becomes more sophisticated and pervasive through generative AI and deep learning, and they can learn to adapt at an unbelievable rate. So there's a movie now, Atlas, with Jennifer Lopez, which effectively explains the functionalities of deep learning, robotics, and the Neuralink technology. I quite enjoyed it. So deep learning analyzes vast amounts of data and identifies patterns. It's invisible to the human eye and makes decisions accordingly, totally transforming our world and outsmarting us. It may become harder for us to understand how they make decisions. But I think there is a great potential for auditors, but also great challenges. And as the AI become more powerful, transparency and accountability become more crucial. Algorithmic audits are vital for this, and they will only be effective if they are adopted by everyone and then strictly implemented. We can ensure that by staying informed and alert about potential risks, and by promoting algorithmic audits, that could work. So the auditors will need to delve very deep and scrutinize every line of the code and every decision, whether they are fair, ethical, and compliant with laws. So to ensure continued integrity of the systems, audits need to be performed regularly, and that will happen through continuous auditing. As the gatekeepers of transparency and verification to ensure responsible and ethical use, our role will become more complex and crucial. And the different skills from the technical expertise combined with professional skepticism and a higher level of thinking, like sort of an overthinker, and the ethical understanding of that with a commitment to fairness and transparency, and also a commitment to regulatory oversight. You will need to think at least 3 steps ahead, like in a chess game, having foresight of all the possible outcomes and the impact of the automated decision-making. So it's not going to be easy. So apart from the normal ethical versus legal dilemma, the algorithmic auditors will need to make further evaluations in terms of the outcomes and impact of algorithmic decision-making. More than just an understanding of the business and professional ethics or regulations, we will need to conduct ethics-based audits to question and challenge the status quo, identify all potential risks, anticipate unexpected or adverse impacts, distinguishing between what an AI system is supposed to do and what it's actually doing. We will need to think like an algorithm, but with a human moral compass. And we need to be even more objective than previously. So in general, an algorithmic Audit will assess and verify the system from the input to the impact and ensures it behaves as expected. And the potential long-term consequences should be considered. If the algorithm is transparent and explainable, if it's used in a socially acceptable manner, if it may produce unwanted effects or impact, if it's safe and secure, if there's evidence of internal bias or incompetence in the design, and if it's adequately reporting to build trust. So with that, I thank you for attending, and then back to you again, Professor Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ilse. It seems that I've got some technical difficulties of my own at this stage. My whole building lost power. So I'm trying to navigate here in the dark. Thank you so much for a very interesting and visually pleasing presentation. I must say, I think we can take questions at the end to allow all the speakers to present what they have to say. So let me introduce our second speaker, who is Gökhan Gökçeoğlu. And Gökhan joined Kuwait Finance House Group in 2000 and pursued his career there as an auditor, senior auditor, and corporate branch manager until 2010. He subsequently worked in different holdings and groups as the chief audit executive within the context of various projects throughout Europe, the Middle East, and the African region, until founding McGorman's Consultancy in 2016 in Great Britain. So after successfully launching his career in the UK and working on different training and advisory projects as a consultant for 6 years, currently is working for the Department for Business and Trade of His Majesty's Government as a senior executive officer or senior auditor. Gökhan is, we are looking forward to your presentation. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you for the most enthusiastic introduction. Much obliged, Lawrence. My presentation. Greetings from our magical islands, where the weather is always lovely, even in June. Namely, greetings from the United Kingdom. I would like to talk about the AI and its repercussions. And let me begin by stating that, like any other auditor who was born during the last century, I was introduced to AI via not Atlas, but another movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator. The rise of the machines and AI was presented like a nightmare, something negative. But luckily enough, fortunately enough, lately we have discovered that AI's main function seems to be making life much more easier for us. Today, my presentation will focus on understanding algorithmic auditing side of AI and its repercussions, its importance, and how it represents a shift from the traditional auditing we've been doing up until lately, if I may say so, to the current and future auditing practices. By definition, algorithmic auditing involves examining algorithms to ensure, among many other things, mainly 3 features that algorithms are fair, transparent, and more importantly, in my humble opinion, as someone working in public sector, compliant with relevant regulations. And when we check algorithmic auditings, examples are like, can be, for instance, the goal is to identify and mitigate potential harms caused by artificial intelligence systems, such as bias or privacy violations, and which makes me think about biased hiring algorithms that can unfairly disadvantage certain groups, and data privacy breaches, which can result in significant legal and reputational damage By the way, take any public and most private organization in their audit universe, risk-based audit universe, it's likely that you will see that reputational risk is a defining risk over all the other risks, because especially in public sector, from where I work, we're not talking about customers or people that enroll who like to do this and that. We're talking about citizens, and because of that, any, God forbid, data privacy breaches may have more severe consequences. So these algorithms should not only be created but maintained, at least better than our usual vehicles, to say the least. And next slide, please. Thank you very much. So these developments have taken us to a new approach to auditing. In the traditional auditing, as we both know, in traditional auditing, it has more of a financial and operational flavor, if I may say so. We were focusing more on that aspects. Algorithmic auditing scrutinizes in more detail, if I may say so, the underlying data and decision-making processes of AI systems, because let's face it, we're not talking about a small bank branch in central Turkey, but where the data is, to say the most, quite manageable. But we're talking about millions and occasionally billions of personal data, line-wise with different rows and column structures, to say the least. So in this altered state, this altered state requires a multidisciplinary approach, integrating technical expertise with ethical considerations. And I would like to underline, especially at this stage, the human touch, quote unquote, becomes more vital than it is in other respects, because technical expertise and some type of, judging by the name of AI itself, some type of artificial technicality may be created and maintained. But at the end of the day, the ethical considerations, securing a certain ethnic group is not neglected, making sure that, just to give an example, gender pay gap is dealt with under a positive light, as it should be. This requires this type of human touch. On the other hand, these new processes also involves continuous monitoring and iterative improvement rather than periodic reviews. To be honest, which is an improvement on the auditing we have been doing during the last century and at the beginning of this one, because now it's able to continuously monitor and thus, hence, therefore, update almost real time any development any step that should be taken. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. When we look at the practical aspects of algorithmic auditing, the skill and knowledge is still as important as it is, if not more. We need a strong understanding of data science, machine learning, and relevant legal frameworks. That's why I enrolled to a data management degree while I was pushing 50 a couple of years ago. So if not experts, we were all talking about financial literacy in the recent past. Soon, I believe AI literacy in itself will is likely to become a concept which will be as important as financial literacy, and it will become almost a universal necessity. When we look at tools and methodologies, one of the most important tool per se is the fairness indicator or fairness indicators, as well as explainability frameworks and compliance checklists. These are all essentials. Fairness indicators play a sociologically and, if I may say so, psychologically and publicly a very important role, so as to secure a fair playing ground for all the citizens, taxpayers, people living in a definitive country. Explanatory frameworks are also very important in order to compartmentalize and categorize these citizens, users, end users in an appropriate way. Compliance checklists is kind of the soft underbelly here because it's needless to say, it's impossible to update laws and regulations real time. There is a process. We have an election coming soon here in the UK. Just to give an example. So there's a lawmaking, legal compliance updating, if I may say so, process. But I believe AI and with its algorithms will make it much more easier for the human element to process all these updates that are required under the light of the developments that are taking place. But at the end of the day, just like it is in the beginning, we're the auditors, and the auditing steps we should take comprises the processes, which include data collection, algorithm evaluation. We are the ones who should check these algorithms and evaluate them as human beings, as well as their impact assessment. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to the audit report, the reporting side of it. Needless to say, there are lots of challenges as well as solutions. The common challenge seems to be including this technical complexity, which I became aware of very quickly while I was trying to complete my degree on data science, and also lack of standardization. There are different sets of standards, but when it comes to aligning them, it's a tad difficult than aligning national laws to the EU one, to give an example. And needless to say, not everyone born during the last century is as eager as I am about changes. So resistance may come from certain stakeholders. But luckily enough, we can overcome this these challenges by focusing more on education training for everyone universally, as well as cross-functional collaboration, secondment, if possible, within corporate organizations, as well as developing robust audit frameworks, which will take it much more, to give an example, detailed level than we used to do within COSO and CISA, depending on the audit area and other frameworks we've been using. And this takes me to the last slide, please. Thank you very much. To wrap up, leveraging, at the end of the day, I believe audit algorithms is leveraging the audits we've been doing. Now, thanks to AI and audit algorithms, depending on AI, senior management can use insights from algorithmic audits. They can use this to enhance their decision-making process, excuse me, to ensure compliance to a higher degree, or basically build trust with other stakeholders. At this juncture, I believe being reactive is not the solution. So a proactive approach is vital so that we can address algorithmic harms proactively, and by doing so, prevent costly legal issues, infamous legal cases, God forbid, and while enhancing our organization's reputation. Thank you very much. For listening to me, our esteemed attendees. I will run the risk of, while concluding, I will run the risk of sounding a bit corny. AI is smart, but at the end of the day, we are smarter. Otherwise, we wouldn't create AI in the first place. They can occasionally, these algorithms can occasionally outsmart us, but here comes the corny part. They will never ever be able to out-create, out-emote, out-feel, or out-love us. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Gökhan, for your thought-provoking presentation on the challenges of the use of algorithms and
thank you.
How we can overcome them. Colleagues, I think looking at the time, and thank you for the previous speakers to stay within their time, Let's go straight then to our third speaker, who is Professor Wahab Jekim. Prof. Wahab is a founding director of the Management Information Systems Department at the Dokkas Ulal University in Izmir, Turkey. With more than 30 years of experience in management information systems, information technology, information systems, decision support systems, geographic information systems, and artificial intelligence. And he has carried out innovative studies in both training and applications. He has 7 books and 7 articles on these subjects. He has given various seminars and participated in many conferences to share his work experiences on geographic information systems and management information systems. He obtained a master's degree in econometrics from the Dokkas Ulal University. His master's in science was in system science from the University of Ottawa in Canada, and his PhD in management science, operational research, or operations research rather, from Lancaster University in the UK. Now, Prof. Jekim is the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Management Information Systems. His research interests include management information systems, geographical information systems, decision support systems, information technology, information management, information systems, artificial intelligence, Industry 4, Internet of Things, content management, distance education. It's a mouthful. He has so many other involvements that will take me ages to go through it all. So, Professor Jekim, we are looking forward to your distinguished address. Over to you, please.
Well, thank you very much for a nice introduction. I'm not an expert of auditing, and I just get a short notice to give a speak today. I am, as you said, focused on a little bit management information system as information technologies in that side. But what I would like to give a little bit introduction about, let me share my screen, if you don't mind. Can I have access to my screen? Is it possible?
You should be able to share. It's the green button at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I get it now. Okay. Let's make it different way. Hold on. Okay, I got it. Yes, I share now my screen, and hopefully I will.
We can't see it yet.
While we're waiting for Prof. Jekim, Carolyn, I see you shared in our chat, and we're very excited about our Global Ethics and Technology Summit coming up on 26 June. Carolyn, we have our speakers ready, more or less, and confirmed, and we're extremely excited. We have so many attendees already registered, so we just want to share this with our attendees here today as well. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to really see leaders in the field of ethics and technology on the 26th of June. Okay, so we can see your screen now, Prof. Thank you. Let's continue on that side.
Okay, hold on, what is it? As I said, I'm gonna talk about a little bit algorithms because of we are very interested in about what you can do with algorithms and give a kind of the way we write a programs or we do some business schedule with that. So I'm gonna show you some little part of that, what we're gonna do here. Let me, hold on. Yeah, I have four agenda about my speaking introduction and how do algorithms work for that, and giving a good algorithms and auditing. And what I would like to say is everybody talks about how AI can help in auditing and different things. we are going to focus on algorithms because the main part of the thinking and main part of the programming of all artificial intelligence, we have to think about the algorithms, and then we go through the flow charts while we give some kind of knowledge to the computer systems. For that way, to understanding algorithms is much more important than anything else, really, to how to solve the problem. And because of that, we are going to talk about, as I say in very short thing here, what I would like to talk about that in the data structures and algorithms really is a set of well-defined instructions for performing a specific task, and algorithms are fundamental to computer science and play a very important role of designing efficient solutions for various problems. Understanding algorithms is essential for everyone interested in mastering data structures and algorithms. Many people think that solving a problem is looking at it only in like a mirror, but we have to look at the backward part of the solution systems. And that's why in computer science, we always talk about them backward and forward programming in that way. In that way, what I would like to do is here talking to understand algorithms is quite important in that way. It's a very important things, and as you see on the screen, is a set of rules to obtain the expected output from the given input. But the point is, it's a finite sequence and of well-defined instruction that can be used to solve computational problems. And in this auditing, also we have to think about the what's the really finite sequence. What's the finite sequence? Because it's not endless and infinitive loop. We have to think about that. It provides a step-by-step procedure that converts an input into a desired output. In that way, we always talk about this algorithms as the way of thinking the problems, how we're going to solve any single unit in a deeply. And instead of looking at the very main perspective, algorithms wants to go to very deeply in the specific point. And it's like a molecular part. If we understand the deeply part, then we can talk about in that part. In that way, I would like to say that algorithms typically follows really a logical structures. That's the one part of thinking about auditing, because the logical parts, sometimes people think that computer can do it easily. But the point is, logical part, as Göker said, that we have to think about that. And if you don't think very deeply, if you don't think the all alternatives, how we're going to solve the problem, the computer never going to solve the problem easily, really. Even the ChatGPT nowadays talking about that, because it reads only what we have already written on the internet or many other digital documents. For input, it receives data. We know that, but the algorithms is I said in a processing, but the point is really this is a black box. It's not easy way, really black box. What you give, what you get is very good to express that feelings. And if you know that, you can give really good results. But if you don't know, you can get all the risks. That's why the auditing has a big risk, because you have a lots of data. But the point is, how you're gonna eliminate the data, or how you're going to analyze the data. So output should be produced that desired output, but how we're going to do that? In that way, let me talk about that. Here, the tool of solving a well-specific computational problems. And yes, but algorithms must be correct and efficient. But who knows that? The point, that's a big risk. You know, somebody writes a program or somebody gives you some kind of solution on the digital environment, and you think that everything is perfect. But how many people knows the behind the algorithms? And so we just accept it, isn't it? Even the ChatGPT, time by time, there are so many faults we have already found. But the good thing is that this is a kind of experience is going to make it much better. That time by time, they make corrections or they simply give a new version of the ChatGPT, but we know you never know. That's why the each input produce an appropriate output. It got to be a correct, but not only one specific problem. It got to be correct for every problem. So our algorithm must be think not twice, maybe 100 times, repeating and repeating to get the correct solution for any kind of problem. That's why not only one people's knowledge is enough for producing a good algorithm. That's why I am going to let you know in the last slide, maybe in different perspective. Before that, let me give you some kind of characteristic of algorithm, because if you don't know in that part, everybody thinks that whatever you get the result, whatever you use this artificial intelligence, machine learning or whatever, some kind of computational programs, you think that that's the perfect one. But the one thing is it's clear, unambiguous, because the algorithm should be unambiguous. Each of steps should be clear in all aspects and must lead to only one meaning. And well-defined inputs. If an algorithm says to take inputs, it should be well-defined inputs. It may or may not take input, because there is no, how should I say, a middle way. It's good or bad, yes or no. That's the algorithm makes easier to our life, because especially for computer scientists, if you want to write a programs, you have to work with the flowcharts. But with flowcharts, you have to find an algorithms, because flowcharts is internationally designed by the graphical part. But before that, everybody used their own language to use, as I'm going to tell you a little later, you have to use your own language to find out the solution parts. Well-defined output is the same things, must be clearly defined. That about will be yielded, and it should be well-defined as well. It should produce at least one output. Every algorithm got to be a one output, not other solutions at all. What is finiteness? It's an algorithm must be finite. For example, it should terminate after a finite time. It can't be loop. Sometimes when you look at the chatbot or whatever, sometimes it goes to the loop, get the same solution, same result at all the time, but it shouldn't be like that. What about the feasible? Its algorithm must be simple, generic, and practical, such that it can be executed using reasonable constraints and resources. That's for sure. And language, as I said a few minutes ago, must be language independent, and it must be just plain instruction that can be implemented in any language, and yet the output will be the same as expected. And flowcharts is an international language, I would say. Let's see the other one, what we can do. Look at what makes a good algorithm in that way. Simply solving problems. If you solve the problem, this means the way you go, the way you find a solution is a good one. It's simply algorithms are essential for solving complex computational problems efficiently and effectively. That's very important things. You know, efficiently, effectively, and maybe we can talk about later the productivity. They provide a systematic approach to solving problems, which is algorithm break down problems into smaller manageable steps. So it makes it easy to solve. And then optimizing solution, algorithm find the best or near optimal solutions to the problem. Easy to manage. Automatic task, algorithm can automate repetitive or complex tasks, saving time and effort. And that's why all we needed, really. So what type of algorithms? I'm not going to go too much details about that. There are 11 different algorithms we can talk about that, depending on what you do and how you are made. Some commands are, as you see in the on the screen, and a graph algorithm, bitwise, mathematical, geometric. Whatever you have a problem, you can choose one of these algorithms as well. But the main, actually, what you want to do is you want to solve this kind of problems, isn't it? You have a problem process, problem, and you want to go through this process. Like problem, you analyze it, problem specification, and to design it. Then algorithm is as a kind of part of how we're going to solve the problem step by step and implementation plan. So we have too many risks also because we don't know who's going to write these algorithms and what kind of knowledge they have. So it's then the compilation executable for Go student. Look at that part. It's a Google search algorithms world, and it's you have to put this graph for this really algorithms, but step by step solving the problem, and it's gonna go. It's really quite complex problem if you want to. Sorry for that. Yeah. This is search engine optimization in Google, earn good money for all over the world, but works incredible for just a simple using this kind of engine processing system, but even one small cities in anywhere in the Turkey as well, there are thousands and thousands Google search optimizations partners earns money, but each partners use different algorithms. That's why even they are the next door for each other, but every partner uses different algorithms for Google optimization system, and they earn different money. And somebody goes up, somebody's go down, somebody's earn much, somebody's earn low because of this algorithm. That's quite very important. That's why. And very short notice, as I said, I am not an expert of any auditing, but as I looking in the algorithm, what we can use in auditing, I will say, well, simply I will say artificial intelligence, I will say in that way. Let's see. I would like to put some small sentence on a screen. It says, as the burdens for collection enormous amounts of data decreased in recent years, that so many data all over the world, and advanced methods of analyzing information rapidly developed, machine learning or any other artificial intelligence parts, or the automation of model building in one of the such methods for quickly become ubiquitous and impactful across industries. For that way, for the public sector, you see on the screen, artificial intelligence algorithms are now being deployed to solve problems that were previously viewed as insurmountable by humans. So in the international development, they are working to predict areas suspectively to famine in regulation. They are detecting the sources of foodborne lines in medicine. They are adding greater speed of predictive to diagnostic process for all over it. The artificial intelligence goes very deeply. But the point is how machine learning can do that. I have checked a little bit on the internet, and I found out that the auditing is mainly used in that kind of artificial intelligence techniques in machine learning because of the the advance of big data, and the technology poses significant tasks, especially particularly when algorithms are assumed to be infallible. In that way, it may be true that this application process any information they are given objectively, maybe human-generated data invariably reflects human biases. Therefore, automated tools can end up entering problematic simplification about the world. Both government and private sector industry players have experienced calls to proactively address this issue. Well, as I would like to repeat it again, because the big data and machine learning are undeniably promising, but the technology also poses significant risks in that way, especially when the algorithms are assumed to be infallible. So we have to focus on that part of algorithms. Maybe machine learnings are good, but who are using this algorithm, and how many people put their knowledge in this algorithm as well? And in that part, I would like to put in that way, algorithm auditing is an effort to ensure that context and surrounding machine learning application directly inform evaluation of their utility and fairness. That's what we have to take into account. The last slide is I would like to make it. Algorithm for auditing is very important for using the data to wisdom process and pyramid. That way, this is a kind of data to information pyramid, we call that also, because data is any kind of single, not information, but the data is to understand becoming information, and knowledge is a kind of experience, but the wisdom is important thing to know, experience for several times. For you, really experts people have to put their knowledge into the algorithm. Otherwise, if there is no wisdom, the algorithm cannot be acceptable for many reasons and cannot solve many problems in your auditing area. So that's why I always put that input is a kind of expert's knowledge, algorithm is a kind of black box, how we're going to solve the business intelligence process, and the output is the result of your experience results, I would say. Well, that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening me, and that's all.
Thank you very much, Prof. Techam, for sharing your knowledge, which was very interesting, and for some of us very new to get some knowledge on the technical side of algorithms. In the end, thank you to all our distinguished speakers for their wonderful contributions, and for the Good Governance Research Forum for this opportunity. I wish to implore the participants to get involved in the discourse on how assurance on new technologies will be provided to only harness the positives that we get from their development and implementation. And I will now hand over to Lindy to close the session for us. Thank you, Lindy.
Thank you, Lawrence. Just also from my side to you and your team, thanks for sharing such important knowledge with us. We even have a few questions in the Q&A, and I invite our participants to reach out to you via LinkedIn or via your information posted on our website as well, if they have any further questions. Thank you to the Good Governance Academy and Carolyn Chalmers as well. It's lovely to use this valuable platform once again. I remind our participants to visit the website, the Research Forum website, and our website as a whole, the Good Governance Academy, for the recording of this link and more information on our participants, our presenters, and future events. So that's all from our side. Thank you. Enjoy your day.